Things are back up and running inside of a Georgia courtroom where we are watching day one of a retrial for defendant A.J. Scott.
The former trooper and now small-town mayor is facing multiple charges, including second-degree homicide. This stems from a 2015 crash that left 2 teenage girls dead.
The victims here were 16-year-old Isabella Chinchilla and 17-year-old Kylie Lindsay. They were killed when Scott's patrol car slammed into their vehicle. The 2 other teens in the car were seriously injured, and they have been inside of this courtroom.
Let's get you back into that courtroom now. A very important witness has taken the stand, one of the surviving victims and the driver of that car crash. Let's go in. This is Dillon Wall.
Dillon Wall.
Dillon, how old are you?
I'm 28 now.
How old were you at the time of the collision?
18.
And you finished with high school at this point?
Yes, ma'am. I just had graduated.
Okay. Where did you go?
Douglas County.
And how is it that you knew Ben and Kylie and Isabella?
Well, Ben's a neighbor and a good friend for a long time. And I met Kylie and Isabella through friends, other friends.
Okay. And you have any siblings?
Yes, ma'am. I have 2 brothers.
Okay. Older or younger?
I'm the middle child, so
Okay.
older and younger.
And how old is your oldest brother?
I think 31. Sorry.
Your mom's going to be disappointed. And how old is your younger brother?
26.
And what's his name?
Quentin Wall.
Now, how is it that you and Ben got together on September 26th, 2016?
Well, I guess he was just at his house, and my truck was broke, and I called him because we were going to go to TJ's and to use his car.
Now, had you and TJ made a plan to meet up?
He called me randomly that night and wanted to hang out.
All right, TJ called you.
Yes.
You in turn called her.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you expect Kylie and Isabella?
Isabella was already at my house whenever I got off work.
Okay. Where were you working?
Ace Hardware. I think she was already at my house. I can't really remember.
Okay, but somehow they all ended up at your place.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And did Ben come by himself?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then Isabella and Kylie, may have come together, may have come separately?
They came separately.
All right. And so the plan was to go to TJ's,
Yes, ma'am.
and what were you going to do?
Just hang out. I mean, he's got lakes and stuff, but we were just gonna hang out.
Did you do that often?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So everybody gets together at your place,
Yes, ma'am.
and then you leave in the same car?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And it's whose car?
Ben's.
And who's driving?
Ben.
And where did you go?
Went down I-20 to 27, and we were gonna go to McDonald's, but then got in the right lane, and I just said go to TJ's because I didn't want him to make that turn.
Okay, so all right, you're going down the road, and you're supposed to go to McDonald's, which is on which direction?
Right.
That's on the right.
Yes, ma'am.
And then got in what lane?
The left lane.
Okay, he gets in the left lane, so that's not the road McDonald's.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And so you told him just to keep on going?
Yes, ma'am.
How come?
Because it was just a risky turn, because he was already in the left-hand lane.
Okay. So you were at TJ's. Now, it was the 4 of you and who else?
My brother,
All right. And your brother was how old at this time?
16.
So you get to TJ's, and what do you do?
Me and him go down to the basement, and he has a workout bench, and we worked out for
Is that
about
something you were doing at the time, or?
big time. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what was your brother doing?
I'm not sure if he was down there with us or not. I think he might have been upstairs with the girls.
What were the girls doing?
They were just listening to music.
Okay. What was TJ doing?
working out with me.
What was Ben doing?
Up there with the girls.
Okay. So they're listening to music. Are you doing anything else?
No, ma'am, we were probably only there for 10, 15 minutes.
All right. Did you eat? Did you drink? Did you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You said you were only there for 15 minutes-ish?
Yes, ma'am, not long. Just long enough to work out and go back up there to take them to McDonald's.
Okay, so you left because?
The girls were hungry.
All right. So who gets back in the car?
Everyone but my little brother, because I told him it was already a packed car, so I told him to stay. We're coming right back. And he did, and he stayed with TJ.
Okay, and who's driving?
Me.
Why?
Because Ben just got his license and he's not supposed to be driving at night.
Okay. How long have you had your license?
The day I turned 16.
All right, so you leave TJ's, and where did you go?
To McDonald's, I guess. I came after I got in the car. I don't remember anything. Just I was waking up at Grady.
All right, so the last thing you remember is leaving TJ's house.
Yes, ma'am. I faintly remember putting the keys in the ignition. That's about it.
Okay. So when you get in the car, you're driving, who's sitting next to you in the car?
Ben,
And who's behind you?
Kyla, and Isabella.
Do you remember which side?
I know just because I know where Isabella passed away was on this passenger side. So yes, I guess Isabella was on the passenger side, Kyla was on the driver's side.
But you don't remember?
No, I don't remember. That's
You just
just...
remember you and Ben are in front and the girls are in the back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you don't remember actually driving anywhere?
No, ma'am. I don't remember even making it to McDonald's or I don't remember nothing. Just waking up at Grady. I don't know how many days later or what.
Okay. You don't know how long you were there before you became conscious?
I have no clue. I just remember seeing my boss, and then that was it, just faintly. I have no clue what day that was.
So your boss came to visit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, do you remember having any alcohol at TJ's?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We gave you a funny look. Why is that?
Because there's definitely no alcohol.
All right. Was the plan to be drinking that evening?
No, ma'am.
Was that, let me take that back. Did you plan to be drinking that evening?
No, ma'am.
Would it be possible that maybe some of the folks that you were with might have wanted to drink that night?
Yes, ma'am.
Then why were you not drinking?
Because I was on a workout plan. I was trying to gain weight.
Without from alcoholic calories?
No.
Okay. Now, do you know how long you were in the hospital?
I think 5 or 6 days.
And what injuries did you receive?
Binary skull fracture, and I lost hearing out of this ear, and just a scar on my arm.
Now, when you say you lost hearing, is your right, maybe just right, the left ear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that something that you deal with today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you're harder to hear out of this ear now?
Very.
So I assume that you don't remember being transported, you don't remember being in an ambulance or anything,
No, ma'am.
talking to people at the scene.
No, ma'am.
Go ahead, Coach. Yes, ma'am. I'll show you what's been marked to say 7, 8. Do you recognize the person in the screen?
Yes, ma'am, it's me.
And these photographs were taken with you.
Hi, Grady.
Remember, this time we were tender state 7 and 8.
Still with us, former prosecutor and constitutional attorney Chris Ann Hall. Tough testimony here for this young man, Chris Ann. What are you taking away from it?
Man, it's really hard to listen to these cases. It's heart-wrenching, especially knowing that, at the time they were so young, and now they're having to relive all of that. And the fact that reliving it 10 years later still brings forward that kind of emotion is just, I can't imagine being a juror watching this. It's got to be highly impactful. But I will tell you one thing, that I don't envy the defense attorney, because cross-examining this witness, it's going to be a very delicate process.
Oh, for sure. When we're hearing about these injuries, I mean, these are permanent injuries that these victims were left with. And Chris Ann, I'm thinking about this in terms of my past experience as a civil litigator. If this was a civil case, we would be talking many, many zeros in terms of if they can show that this defendant caused it. Do you think on the civil side that this was a lot simpler in terms of for the plaintiffs to prove that he was responsible?
Well, it's always simpler on the civil side because the burden of proof is different. And, you have in the civil trial the opportunity to mitigate damages by the actions of one party or another party and divide those zeros by accountability. This is criminal, so this is beyond a reasonable doubt, and the burden of proof is always going to be higher, and the question for the jury is always going to be harder.
Absolutely. Chris Ann Hall, thank you for your analysis this hour and lending us your time. We have much more ahead.
Coming up, more from one of the surviving victims in the speeding trooper homicide trial for Mayor A.J. Scott. Stay with us. You're watching Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Kelly Craft, in today for Julia Janae. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. We are in Georgia watching the speeding trooper homicide trial. This is for A.J. Scott, a small-town mayor who is accused of vehicular homicide while he was a state trooper. This was back in 2015. Prosecutors say that he was speeding while driving in his patrol car and slammed into another car with 4 people inside. Teenagers Isabella Chinchilla and Kylie Lindsay died. This is the second time he is standing trial. The first trial ended in a mistrial after prosecutors failed to disclose evidence. Let's take you back inside the courtroom now. We are hearing from a very important witness who just took the stand not too long ago. His name is Dillon Wall. He is a survivor of the crash.
Remember, just tell me the tender states 7 and 8.
Is that the okay?
All right, 7 and 8 are admitted. Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, this is states is 7. This is a photograph of you at grade.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember this photograph being taken?
No.
It says 8. Now, you're talking about the scar on your arm. There's a bandage there. Is that what you were speaking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is that something that you still have today?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wall. A few questions for you. You mentioned today that you said you're 28 years old. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What do you do for a living? Where do you work?
I work for Country Financial as an insurance agent
Okay. And how long have you been employed there?
for about 6 months.
We're going to take you back to, 2015. Well, ask you questions about that day, September 26th, particularly. At the time, where were you living?
At my parents' house in Douglasville.
Okay, where was that in Douglasville?
1390 North Flat Rock Road, Douglasville.
And you mentioned that you came out here to TJ's house, how often had you been to TJ's house?
A good amount.
Okay. Had you driven to TJ's house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Had you ever driven Mr. Finken's car before?
Probably one at a time.
Okay. So you were familiar with how it drove, how it accelerated, how it stopped, those sort of things?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was there anything, prior to the collision, was there anything wrong with the car? Did it not perform properly? Or?
It worked fine.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about having Mr. Finken having a certain license. Do you recall what class of license you had at that time?
C.
Your testimony, you had a C.
I think so. I mean, I had the one where you can drive at any time.
Okay.
I was 18.
Okay. Very well. And you had received it, you said when you were 16, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when was your birthday that you turned 18?
February 23rd.
Of what year? What year you born?
97.
Born 97. So you would have turned 18 about 7 months before this, you were 18?
Yes, sir.
And you just graduated high school from which high school?
Douglas County High School.
Okay, about 3 months prior, 4 months prior?
May, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Now, you testified earlier that Mr. Finken was in the car and that your little brother was in the car. Was your older brother in the car?
No, sir.
Would there be any reason why law enforcement would find your older brother's ID in your wallet?
I used to buy alcohol with it.
Okay. And I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 11. And if you recognize this, just tell me what it is.
It's my older brother's ID.
Okay. And do you recognize that to be the ID that you in fact had in your possession?
No. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that in the same condition as the last time you saw it?
I haven't seen it since, I guess so, yes, sir.
Your Honor, move to Defense Exhibit 11 and publish with jury copy.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right. 211 is admitted and it will be published.
Thank you. Whoever did it, Mr. Thank you. Now, we have not heard the name Theodore Wall. Is that your older brother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And his license at that time said under 21, but in September of 2015, he would have in fact been 21, correct?
Yes, sir.
Almost 22.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you do not dispute that this was found in your wallet at some point in time after the collision?
Yes, sir. I mean, I've had it in my wallet all the time.
Fair enough. And it is fair to say it's actually in this photograph. Do you know, is that your wallet? And I backed it up if I need. Is that in fact your wallet that it's in right there? Or was your wallet back there?
I think I had 2 wallets. I'm not sure if that is the wallet that I'm not sure.
Fair enough. Let me ask you this way. No one else would have had that ID with you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you mentioned alcohol. Do you recall stopping to buy alcohol sometime that night?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you remember alcohol being at the scene at the time?
No, sir.
Are you saying it was or you don't remember?
I don't remember.
Fair. Now, when you came out of, when you left TJ's house, I want you to, this is before that, can you tell me how you drove or what streets you drove on once you left his house?
Ham Jones Road to, I don't know the name of the, Holly Spring Road to 27.
Okay. And at some point in time, you testified you thought you were going to go to McDonald's. Was that your intention?
Yes, sir.
At the time, I know it's been 10 years, things have changed. Did you use a debit card for your purchases?
I don't remember leaving TJ's.
Okay. Have you ever, during the 10-year period, been able to find any sort of evidence or produce any evidence or look at your bank record showing that you used your card there at McDonald's?
No, sir, I never did.
Has he maybe asked you to?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, we see the scene and you guys identified the injuries. Do you recall speaking to anyone at the scene as far as law enforcement or EMS, anybody?
Sir, I don't remember anything since I left TJ's.
Okay. And you don't remember how you got, let me ask you this, do you remember getting out of the car?
No, sir.
Okay. You said you remember waking up at Grady, is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that would assume that you had been out, so if you wake up, you've been out. Do you remember any time before that ride over when you got to Grady, anything along those lines?
Sir, I had a brain injury. I don't remember anything.
Fair enough. I have no reason to say. So, you don't remember anything from the time you left TJ's till you got to Grady?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me ask you before you got to TJ's, because you do remember that, right?
Yes, sir.
Was there any stops that you made? And so tell me, was there any stops between and your house and TJ's house? How far apart are they? Where are they at in your first
30 minutes, 35 minutes.
No, okay, your house and BNP. I apologize. How far?
300 yards.
Couple driveways.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And between Douglasville and North Flat Rock Road and TJ's house, you guys, your recollections before, you did not stop, correct?
What do you mean?
Did you? I'm asking, did you make a stop?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm straight there.
Okay.
We were planning to stop on McDonald's, but...
But it didn't happen. Y'all went to TJ's first.
Yes, sir.
So, if the beer that was found at the scene, you don't know where that came from?
No, sir.
But you do admit that you had an ID on you that night that made you over the age of 21, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember stopping at a Kangaroo station, which is a gas station in close proximity to this intersection?
I don't remember anything since I left TJ's.
You remember going inside the station?
No, sir.
And when you were approaching, and you probably don't know what I'm asking, do you recall moments, seconds before the accident? Do you remember anything at all?
No, sir, not at all.
I will ask you, since you said that you had driven that car before, do you remember that being a souped-up car, a sports car? You remember anything?
No, sir.
Okay. And you remember what make and model it was?
This is a Nissan, something, I'm not sure.
Okay. Was it brand new? Was it older? Was it used?
Older, used, but not too old. I'm not sure what year.
That's okay.
Okay, listening to one of the victims on the stand, we are going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. The testimony is going to be continuing out of this case in Georgia we've been watching.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, diving deeper into today's testimony in the killer's daughter murder trial. We're live with the latest from this decades-old cold case.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law.
This is terrible. Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
The matriarch mastermind murder trial. Live coverage begins this week on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are tracking several major cases this afternoon. First, in Florida, day 2 of jury selection is underway and the murder trial for Donna Adelson, accused of orchestrating the murder to kill her former son-in-law. Openings are expected to begin as early as tomorrow. In Tennessee, jurors are now hearing closing arguments in the trial for the so-called mastermind behind the fatal shooting of Memphis rapper Young Dolph. You can stream that trial for Hernandez Gavin right now on Court TV's YouTube page and CourtTV.com. Also in Georgia, testimony is back underway in the cold case trial for Christopher Wolfenbarger. He's accused of killing his wife more than 20 years ago, but his defense points to the victim's serial killer father as a possible suspect. Also out of Georgia, our newest live trial. That is happening right now for A.J. Scott. He is the small-town mayor facing vehicular homicide charges connected to a crash that killed 2 people and left 2 others injured. That's the case we're on right now, so let's get you back into that Carroll County courtroom. On the stand, we are listening to Dillon Wall. He is one of the surviving victims of that crash.
It wasn't something you would race somebody in, would it?
No, sir.
Okay. Was it 5-speed or automatic, do you recall?
It was automatic.
And I know you testified just a little while ago that was you at Grady. You know who took those pictures?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. But you identified that's you.
Yes, sir.
Now, were you or to your knowledge, Mr. Bacon, dating either Mrs. Chinchilla or Miss Lindsay?
No, sir.
How long had you known them?
For the year.
So you were 18 and you'd known them years, so they were a couple of years younger than you already, correct? They were 16, 17?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you'd known them since they were 15, 16, is that fair?
Yes, sir.
At some point in time, did you attend high school with them?
No, sir.
Did you ever go to South Hall High School?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. When did you go to South Hall High School?
My freshman year, so I'm not sure what year that is.
Sure, your freshman year. Okay. And then you finished at Douglas County for the next 3 years?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, did you know these girls from your time at South Hall?
I knew friends.
How did you meet them? Or where did you meet them? What's that supposed to be? Where and when?
I think one of my friends dated Kylie and he came over and then they just hung out at my parents' house. We have a pool and swimming.
Well, I'm going to ask you a little bit about, had they ever been in the car with you before, Kylie and Jessica?
Yes, sir, in my truck.
Had you ever driven in that car? In that Nissan?
No, sir.
Now, fair to say they're both very beautiful young women, right?
Yes, sir.
Good girl, right?
Yes, sir.
And so, it's Saturday night, right? When this happened? Late at night?
Yes, sir.
And you mentioned that it was getting there time before Benny couldn't drive. You know what time that would have been?
I thought it was when it gets dark.
Okay. So he had driven out there. Was it dark when y'all got out there?
I mean, it was getting dark.
Dusk. And so you decided you were going to drive back. Any reason why, other than just his inability to drive legally at that time? The reason you decided that you drive?
I just felt safe for driving.
Fair. So at some point in time, did you guys have a plan that you were going to stay there that night, or you were going to go home? What was the plan, if you remember?
I don't think we really had a plan. I don't think we were going to stay.
Okay. Had you stayed there before?
Yes, sir, but not with. There's not enough room to sleep for everybody.
Now, had you consumed alcohol at Mr. Sylvie's house prior to September 26, 2015?
Probably once or twice.
And do you recall your intention was to consume alcohol that night, September 26, 2015, into the morning of September 27th?
No, sir. I was on a workout plan. I was trying to get bigger.
What were you going, other than just for looks alone, did you have a plan? Did you join the military? Any reason why you were working out?
I was just really skinny.
Okay. Fortunately, that's a problem I've never had. But you were just trying to get bigger. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you mentioned that you were downstairs lifting weights. Do you know if anyone ever videoed or took photographs of y'all at the house prior to that?
Before that day?
Oh, that night. Did anybody video?
No, sir.
All the time the guys at bench press and the crew, if they want to take pictures or video, did you do that?
No, sir.
Okay. And I think about it, how many times do you think you could make that left-hand turn on the Holly Springs Drive in your life?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I've done it plenty, I guess 10 times.
Okay. I was going to say more than 10, less than 20. Is that fair?
Something like that. I really can.
And for the jury's edification, can you recall at the time that intersection, was it on a hill, was it flat, was it in a valley, was it in a curve? Tell us what kind of intersection.
It was on a hill.
Okay.
It was tall grass.
Okay. And you were making a left-hand turn, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you had taken, let me ask you, you said you got your license at 16. Had you taken Joshua's Law?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in Joshua's Law, the class, and listen to the jury may not know what it is. I had kids, I wouldn't know. It is a class that's given to all would-be drivers when they're 15 or 16. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Did you take it at high school?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that back. And if you recall the section about failure to yield, what that means, what you're supposed to do.
Repeat that?
Do you recall a section in there about failure to yield and what you're supposed to do at an intersection?
I don't recall that, but I know about it.
Okay. And I'll ask you a question. I think we're going to agree on this. Would you consider Highway 27 to be a major thoroughfare or a big road? Let's put it that way. You say 27 at that point in time is a major thoroughfare.
Yes, sir.
And the road that you were making a left onto, you were, just so we're clear, you were actually southbound on 27 making a left crossing the northbound lane. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And the area that you were crossing on, the paved area in between the two sides of 27, how wide was that approximately?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. From me to you, is that fair enough? Go far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
2 lanes, I mean.
fair enough. Not the road itself, just the area that you were making a left-hand turn on. The little section between the
Yes, sir.
Is that? I mean, you tell me that's not.
I'm not sure. They changed the whole road, so
Fair enough.
I don't remember.
Now, you're familiar about turning left and must yield to oncoming traffic. You are familiar with that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. As your testimony states, you don't remember what happened, so I'm not going to ask you about what happened. But you are familiar with that, just the law at the time, and still is, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Lest we drive legally, then you own this out there. I did want to ask, and you may not know this, or said you don't remember. Do you remember where you were bleeding from on your body?
From the body cam, I can see my ear bleeding.
Sure. And that's based on watching the camera, not your recollection.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you become aware of any deployment of airbags?
I can't remember anything.
Okay.
Besides pictures.
Okay. Now, I only ask what you remember. That's all I'm going to do. Do you remember, and I probably know your answer here, but I'm asking you, do you remember riding in an ambulance or meeting the EMTs at the scene, anything like that?
No, sir.
Do you recall buying cigarettes, or excuse me, cigars?
No, sir.
If you had bought, purchased cigars, what were they in there? What was your choice in it?
I didn't smoke cigars.
Did anybody in your car that you know of smoke cigars?
No, sir.
Was anyone smoking in the car that you remember, either on the way out there or on the way back?
No, sir.
This time, Ms. Wall, that's all I have. Thank you.
Any redirect? Any objection to this witness being excused?
That concludes the testimony of Dillon Wall, the driver of the vehicle, and inside that vehicle he had 3 other passengers, 2 of which were killed in that car crash. The trooper speeding down Highway 27. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney John Day to talk about this case. John, thanks for being with us today, listening to this sad case out of Georgia. The driver of the vehicle was on the stand being cross-examined, asking things about smoking cigars. Was anyone in the car smoking? Asking what he could recall. He didn't recall a lot. Tough testimony from him.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It is tough. The defense in this case has to paint a picture of some kind of contribution that this driver had to the accident, whether it was inattention or was there somebody sitting in a seat that obscured his view. It's a tough call for the defense, because they've got to convince the jury that even if the officer at the time was speeding, even if he was going way over the speed limit, there was a contribution from the other driver, and that would negate any criminal charge for the reckless homicide.
And that's what defense counsel really has to show, John, because when you take a look at the charge, vehicular homicide, they have to show that the trooper, the prosecution has to show that the trooper was negligent in his actions, and he was speeding. There's no dispute about that, going 90 miles per hour. That's what the prosecutor is saying. And so when you take a look at the charge, well, you can establish that pretty clearly, but was there a contribution from the other side? Did they also contribute to the terrible car crash?
Right. Well, in this case, the defense lawyer, in his opening, he did a sort of an interesting visual thing. He brought out a loaf of bread. He said he used to work in a bakery, and he said the inspectors at the bakery had to inspect the bread and the process very carefully. And he said, as jurors, that's what you have to do in this case. There are going to be flaws in the investigation. There are going to be reasons that there's reasonable doubt. So while the defense has a tough road here, they do have some areas that they can make some inroads on. They can talk to the jury about, maybe the trooper was going too fast, but if the driver of the other car hadn't been distracted, or if there hadn't been something obscuring the view, the accident wouldn't have happened. So the defense has to put the burden back on the trooper on the driver of the other car, at the same time acknowledging the tragedy of it. So it's kind of a fine line they have to walk, not getting the jury ticked off at them, but at the same time raising the idea that there's reasonable doubt here, and that the trooper was not the only cause of the accident, therefore he can't be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.